So we're going to be doing some painting. So I have my yellow, orange, green. We're going to be doing some red, not that you can see, and some brown. And we're going to be painting this little T-Rex. I got him from the Dollar Tree a long time ago, and I've never painted him. He came with paints, but either I potentially have them in my bucket or they're just gone. So, but we're just going to paint him. Ooh, wow. Let's go. Alright, so going into the painting portion, you can see I already did most of it like how I usually do. So what I was pretty much doing was kind of just grabbing colors. I grabbed like 2 paint colors for this portion, and I was just trying to like block it in with some shading just to add it in. Yeah, there's glare, but it's like you can still kind of tell what I was doing with the darker color. So I didn't really have a complete light source, in all honesty. I was kind of just putting paint down where I felt like it. So that's why it looks a little funny. But it's a kid's drawing from dollar store, so I'm like, I don't care. I'm just kind of putting it down and just doing this. So, like, this dark, like, these paints are not the best. So I was trying to work with what I had. I mean, the brown kind of worked, but it's just like the brown is, like, it's very thick. It's not smooth like how acrylic should be. But it's just, like, those are from, like, the paint by number kits, so they're not the best paints in general. And then for yellow, yeah, I was just trying to use a lighter kind of yellow, just like you can kind of see a little bit of a difference from the initial first color. And then I just put on the little color just to almost blend it slightly for the sky. Not that I tried too hard. And then I did an orange just again to darken it up some because I don't have a bunch of like different colored yellow paints because they're all pretty much the same. So I was just trying to add it on there. And I didn't try and do a lot because I didn't want to stand out too much from the yellow. But it was like enough just to kind of give the idea of there being a little bit of shading and just trying to add in a little bit of depth. And then for this part, I was almost trying to do a grass-like texture. I didn't do complete grass texture, but it was just, I was trying to like flick up the brush some just to kind of look like little clumps of grass or whatever. Again, to give the impression. I wasn't really trying to do grass because I hate doing grass. But I'm still trying to like learn how to deal with it. This is one thing I was doing, was just sitting there and just flicking. Because I was like, let me just try something. So obviously like across the line, like try not to go over. It was kind of straight, but there were parts I flicked. So it almost kind of gives a grass-like appearance. It's fairly close. It's not perfect, but it's just like looking at it like without like scrutinizing, it kind of does look like grass some. But I wasn't like really trying to make this like the main focus. It's kind of just there. And then with the grass near the volcano, I wasn't really putting a whole lot of detail because I'm like, it's too far away for me too. So I'm like, I'm not going to worry about it too much. But like here, yeah. So with the green, you can kind of see my flicking I was trying to do. Yes, I do not like to mix colors. So it just does this, you know, to how it is. That's just what it is. And then down here by his feet, I didn't do a whole lot of flicking because it was not a whole lot of room because it's mostly in shadow too. With the darker green, I tried to a little bit, but it wasn't anything like crazy. Again, I just want the impression. I'm not trying to be like realistic here because I'm not a realistic artist, but it's like I can try and do a little bit of something. So that's where we're at. But I mean, it kind of helped. Not a ton, but it's just there. Just for a Alright, so now we have the underpainting done. Well, underpainting. Act like I'm a professional, know what I'm talking about. So I was just trying to like blend some parts out pretty much. As much as like blend it. I think the green worked the best with the blending. But it's also like these paints, these ones are really bad. Not these are actually still pretty good. But it's just like these ones, because they came from paint by number kits. So most of them are nearly dried out or like getting really close and they're like very gloopy. So that's why it's not the best looking, but that's okay because that's not what matters. But yeah, so I think the green definitely turned out the best. But I think grass wise, I'm gonna attempt to try and get it like this, even though I didn't put any lines down. Like I kind of did when I was doing, you know, the little flicking. But I'm gonna attempt to get it something like this, if this wants to. So it'll, a little something like that, because I'm like, I actually kind of like how it looks. So I'm gonna attempt it, but we're also gonna try and attempt the scales, because I think I will try and attempt like my version of scales that I like to do. I was like, do I have a good example of this? I might. Just to kind of show what I'm talking about. Ooh. Okay, I guess this will work. So kind of like how I did Aerith. So the brown will be the spots. The yellow will be these lines. And the green will actually be the extra lines for the scales. So that's what the intention is. So I'm going to try that out. I'm going to do it with gouache. I will put pencil on here. But that's, yeah. So, I mean, so far he's actually not looking terrible. I'm actually kind of having a good time with it. But, I mean, it kind of sucks, though, with the paint. Because the paint's just not that good. But, yeah. So now we're going to go through and do some more. So, ooh. So now we're on the gouache portion. So, me and gouache are not the best of friends. Like, you can already see how I did some of it. I'm still trying to learn how to use gouache because mine dries out a lot. It's the Hemi gouache. So mine dries out, so I have to like, I spritz it. I guess I don't let it sit for long enough because I spritz it before I use it. I don't mix it, so I don't know if I'm supposed to do that either. I have no idea because I don't want to like waste all the paint, right? So I just dip my brush into my water. Not all the way, but like enough to at least get it wet, and then I can grab color. So it's also on top of acrylic, so that's why I'm like, I don't know if that's the best, but like that's just how I'm learning how to do it. So I don't know if acrylic and gouache really should be separate, because like I have watercolor paper, so I don't know if the gouache would work on watercolor paper. I can try it and just do like a little painting or something and just see if I like that better, and maybe just stick with like acrylic and pencil on the canvas, and then maybe use gouache for the watercolor paper. So I'm like, I could try that and just see how I feel. But with this, I was just trying to like put the paint down, but also trying to like add in a little bit of detail, because I have not done like scales yet with painting, because to me it's a little too advanced for like what my skill level with painting right now. So it was interesting. So I'm like, I don't know if next time maybe I should just kind of sit there and just draw in all the lines and then paint it, which I'm probably gonna have to do, just so I can see where the lines are and make it easier for myself. So that's probably what I'm gonna do next time. But yeah, that's why I'm like also like dabbing all the brown areas, is I'm trying to make it look like my circular scales I like to do. Like if you want, you can go look at my minis comic, and I actually do have little dinosaurs I do. And one of them is like completely covered in scales, which is my Stegosaurus. So like I have several different scale patterns, so like you can look at that and see what I'm talking about. But it just didn't really work for me with the paint. So that's why I'm thinking is that probably next time I should just draw lines in. But you can see here with the green, I'm like starting to add in like very light lines of scales, just to kind of help give the effect without being like too overbearing with it. But I probably should have done more. It didn't completely work out. So we'll have to see for next time, but that's something we'll work on with scales. But still just the general adding in the dark areas too. Alright, so painting is done for the most part. So yeah, I was trying to add in those lines a little bit, but the gouache doesn't want to work for me, because it's like, I wet it with like a spritzer, but then they dry on me, so I have to like dip my paintbrush in the water, and then I have to use it. So it's like, either gets super light or it gets really dark once it starts drying some more. So, I mean, this kind of worked back here. I think this grass turned out better. Like, even on the little paw prints, I was actually trying to blend them out some, so having all the extra color there kind of looks cool. I don't know what the background, we're gonna put some color in that to try and blend it out a little bit more. But it's kind of same with him, so I'm gonna start using pencils now to go through and start adding in more detail. I mean, but overall though, he's cute though. He is kind of fun, so it's not terrible. Yeah, I still gotta learn some painting, but it's okay. So yeah, like even on like here, because I do the circles, I was trying to do like almost kind of like tapping it some to try and get some circles. It didn't completely turn out, but we'll go back into and try to add it. Like I couldn't really do it on the legs and whatnot because it's just too small, but at least up here on the brow and the cheek I'll try and make it super noticeable, and on the tail because it's easier. But yeah, so we're gonna bring pencils in and hopefully I can cover some of this up and make it look a little bit better than what it does right now. Alright, so now I was using, so for the pencil part, I kind of just grabbed colors because at first I was like actually like trying to like color and shade it, but then I was like, you know what, no, I'm not doing this. So then I just started laying color down where I kind of felt like it, just to like kind of add in a tiny bit of detail and just some random color. Like here I used blues on the red part because I did like a random color generator and just picked these random ass colors, and that's what I used to color with. So yeah, I'm just kind of laying down color wherever and kind of in the shadow. I don't know what I was doing. I did go back in with a black and add in like actual like scale details, so that's why I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea what I was doing. I was just kind of putting color down and going with it. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting. I mean, it's interesting in the way that there's a lot more color involved, but again, I'm not nearly as skilled with the paint, so it's like I can't just do all the details yet with it, because it's like I have to have lines if I'm going to do details. So that's why I'm like, maybe next time I will just do full on details so that way I can actually paint around it and just do it that way. Because I mean, like adding the color in here like this was interesting because again, it just gives a little fun element and texture. So that's kind of what I was going for. Like you can also see the grass there. Like I actually could add in like more grass detail, which helped. So, I mean, it was kind of fun, but yeah, once I hit this point, I really didn't know where I was going anymore. You know? So I just kind of went with it, and I was like, all right, well, this is what we're doing. So here we are. I mean, so I'm like, I kind of like that though, because it gives a bunch of different extra colors. So I'm like, okay, now I know kind of where I'm going with the pencil direction. So we're gonna keep practicing with it to get a little bit better at it. Alright, so here's the final look. Mixed feelings on what I have done. It was kind of an experiment. He's kind of interesting. This actually reminds me of like fish scales. Yeah, I don't know where I was really going with this. So I actually made myself a joke and I was like, well, dollar store canvas gets dollar store painting. So that's kind of what happened. One thing I know for sure though is that eventually I will paint this over this with black and do something completely different with it. But for now, I mean he's okay. But yeah, I just wanted to paint, so that's why I'm like to do something. But yeah. So we'll have to see what I do next time for a painting, because I have something else in mind. But yeah, you'll have to wait and see. But here we go. Rexy. Oof. Alright, well, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!